We're going to log on to our AWS account. Yesterday, I said we're going to be dealing with VPC creation. What is a VPC? Huh?
Virtual private network.
Virtual private cloud?
Yes,
Someone say virtual private network?
Connection.
virtual private cloud.
Virtual private connection, okay.
Cloud.
So what is a VPC?
Virtual private cloud. VPC is having
Virtual
like
private
Hold on,
cloud.
hold on. We have a response. I have a response in class. Sorry. Can somebody help me with this mic, please? Guys online, did you guys hear the response?
no.
We didn't hear it.
So they can't hear they can't hear. Okay, go ahead, respond. Let's say that again.
The VPC is a virtual private cloud, and it's like your own personal space in the cloud that AWS provides for you to configure your network the way that best suits you and the resources that have to go through.
The VPC is a virtual private cloud that AWS provides for you to configure your own network that as best suits you. Is that what you said? Okay, that's what she said in class. Thank you. Who else has a contribution for it? Or VPC? Hold on. If you don't know what a VPC is, forget cloud, because this is the base of everything you do. Without this VPC, nothing else matters. Everything else you hear is just language. This is the cloud. This is where if you hold this stuff, you're done with. Like, forget AWS it's okay. You got it. This is everything that you need. Nothing else matter. All of those services, featured services, is just what? Everything reside here. Let me make it easy. A VPC is the apartment unit in your apartment complex. In your apartment units, you have bedrooms. Your bedroom, guest room. You have some have ceiling fans, right? Some have come with microwave. Doesn't no modern apartment comes with microwave? They call it microwave. They come with what's it called? Dishwasher. They come with oven and modern stove. They come with refrigerator, right?
Hello,
Come
sir.
with cabinets, right? That's what modern apartment comes with. They come with if I can hear myself.
Yeah.
That's terrible. I can hear myself and stuff. And please mute everyone so they don't want to hear the voice, please. They come with modern stuff. It's the same thing. A VPC, like the lady said, is the isolation piece of the cloud. The VPC is the private section. It is exactly that exclusive area at the airport. That's what the VPC is. The VPC is your apartment unit inside of the apartment complex. Remember, some of you have neighbors. You know, apartment complexes have a lot of units in them. Some have like 500 units. So those 500 units, you have about 500 different tenants, but they are all in one big apartment complex. So you have the right to do whatever you want to do as long as you don't burn down the apartment, right? Burning down the apartment was not part of the agreement you signed. If you don't know how to cook, go and meet Fumilayo. Don't burn your house, burn your apartment down. It's not part of the lease. So when you provision a VPC in the cloud, it's a big space. It's like a land. Remember I showed you the land, right? You're just building your own house inside that land. just because you build your own house in the land doesn't mean that there are no extra space. There is extra space for those who are interested to build their own house in a different parcel of land. If the other guy builds his own house in a free space there will still be more space for others to build their own house inside on top of the land. So the public cloud which AWS offer is that land space. The houses that are built is the VPC. By default, AWS only provides 5 VPC by default. By default, every AWS region comes with a VPC. It's called the default VPC. By default. By default means that means you don't have to labor for it. You don't have to configure. AWS, that's the way they design their service. It comes with a private VP, a private a virtual private virtual cloud VPC, right? By default, they come with default VPC, right? So you don't have to do anything about it. So what we do, I say the best practice. I just try not to mess with the default stuff. You know, I just try not to mess with it. If he gave us his car to drive one time, that's the problem with messing with default stuff. So with the car has D, so if a car has D, that's drive, right? That's automatic. If he altered, this is between Ife engineering mind, brilliant mind, one of the best out of Africa. The guy just come, loaded. He altered the car and turned it to manual car. So me and Louis, we're going to pick up food. That was first day class. When we go, I thought maybe Louis was just being a gentleman because Louis was a quiet guy. So he was a gentleman. Once we got out of the church parking lot, on as about to turn on the left side, right, the light, the car wouldn't move. I said, Louis, drive now. Louis said, sir, that's all I can do. I'm trying to drive. The car is not moving. We now call Ife. Say, Ife, this car, it's like you bring us another car from the church was changed because I won't be ready if Louis continues driving like this. He can say, oh, you guys are doing it the wrong way. I said, what do you mean? We put the car on D. So we put drive. If I say I altered it, it's manual. I say, hey. I said, do any of you know how to drive manual? I said, no. It's okay. That means I'm coming to get the car. If I know how to drive to meet us with the Yo pickup I had, and then we gave him his car. Before I turn, if he disappear, because if he knows how to maneuver the car, but he altered the course of the default setting because the car is an automatic car, but if he altered it and turned it to manual car, I never see that kind of stuff before. I thought we were moving from manual to automatic, but if he did it reverse. That's the problem with messing with default settings. You may know how to, but others may have a problem with it. So what we do is that we leave the default configuration alone. Because if you mess up the default configuration, your AWS will not work for you. It will not work. Yes. I tried it 1,000 times. It won't work. So you leave the default VPC. What we do now, we'll go to the console. We're going to use our naming convention. Naming convention. So listen, guys. The VPC, right? Before now, I would rather show you than tell you. But now I think it's better to tell you before I show you. Okay, the VPC, there's a way it's designed. When you create the VPC, you can create a VPC without adding a name to it. It will work. You don't need to put a name. But the problem is that you can identify it. Just like the IAM stuff, right? Where we had to change the aliases to dev test in order for us to know that this environment is development and testing. That's what this. That's what you did. It's called a naming convention. This stuff is a big technical terminology that's thrown around in the cloud world. Naming convention. It's a big deal. There's one. Oh my goodness. Let me tell you my consulting experience. One client I was helping a few years ago. Man, I know most people are not Nigerians, but there's a word from Nigeria that says jaga jaga. You know what that means? Eh? Jaga jaga. Skata sata. It's zappa. Zappa zappa. He says zappa zappa. So those guys, you can't tell. So they dear Lord, they manage clients. Let's say, for example, I told you there are two types of employment, right? A consultancy services and probably product service, right? So consultancy company, like Kenny here, is a consultant. She has a consulting company. Elizabeth is one of our clients. Favor is one of our clients. Omotayo is one of our clients. And that bro there is one of our clients. So she's managing VPC for all four people, but we don't know which customer. We don't know if Omotayo's VPC. We don't know what Omotayo's VPC is because no name, Elizabeth name, Favor or Omotayo, this bro, the name was not written on the VPC. She just created it like that. Only she knows the VPC by maybe the markings and all this, some stuff that she put there. She don't, that means the VPC don't have tag. That's what the environment looks like. So I had to start identifying, the customer and stuff. The reason why naming convention is important, you use it for billing. Because everything, if the right naming convention and the right tagging will help you with your billing. You know that because some of you are going to hone, it's not prayer. Listen, some of you, because I'm identifying, one of the things that I do is that I pick talent. I chose Odusanya did not choose me. See that? And I have 100 Odusanya. I pick talent. As I'm scanning the room, I'm seeing the next talent to fold, be consistent, and we'll do things together. Most of you are going to have your own consulting company. All my guys, they have their own consulting practice. They don't just work to earn a living. They are building that practice for a multi-million-dollar deal, right? I said that to say the consultancy service needs to come with tagging and a good naming convention. When you're doing consultancy, you need to follow the rule of naming convention and tagging, because that's how you build. For example, you know how, let me bring it up. You know how if you give, dear Lord, for kids now, for kids, if you give the same bottle of water to 4 kids, and 2 of them drank the water, drank theirs, and the 2 don't. How would you know which of the kids drank more water? Bro says the stomach. Okbara, right? That's it, right? Okbara. Say the stomach. Just respect his stomach. Come here. You, water drinker. Stomach, okay. That's a good one. That's a good one. What if they have flat stomach and it doesn't show? You put a names on them, right? Okay, that's one. That's to know. Okay. You put a name before you give them. You change the color of their bottle. So you know whose is whose. That's tagging. That is tagging. you tag it to the right person. Because if it's untagged, you don't know whose is whose. Thank you. That's beautiful. So that's just an example. Some things like branding. So we have Adeyinka, Ade Tola, Ade Tutu, Ade Butu. That's naming convention. See, just because your name is Ade Sola, my name is Ade Tola, doesn't mean we're related. But there's a connecting factor, right? Being from Yoruba. You see that? So the Ade there is a naming convention. Is example of a naming convention. The tagging, you are Igbo, I'm Yoruba, they all have names. That's tagging. Let's get to work now, right? So you ready? Oh yeah, ma. Yes, please.
The VPC, okay, sorry. It's virtual version of a physical network.
Yes.
It's right.
Yes, but you see, that's an advanced knowledge of yours. You know, most who are just entering, that will throw them off. So we'll try to lose something that's relative. But you're right, 100%. It's a virtual network. Okay, yes. So anyway. Anyone have a question before we get into Anton? Because this Anton is about to be tough. So we're going to go back to our AWS console. Remember, you can no longer log in as you can no longer log in as the root account. You have to log in from your user account. For some language, single point of failure. For example, we scheduled Verizon to come install Wi-Fi for us. They wanted us to give them some type of building lease agreement. Where are we going to produce that from? You know, so it wasn't. They didn't show up for the appointment yesterday, which was the day they agreed. As a result, we're not depending on the church Wi-Fi, which is currently slow. So now we're going to log into our AWS account. Okay, good stuff. Log on. Hey, I love you, very jovial, but I'm very, very disciplined with my class. Please don't distract me. Are you ready? Anu, are we recording?
Yes.
All right, good stuff. So we're gonna navigate to services. Services. I told you services where every battle is fought in AWS. Under services is where you can build anything. So please be familiar with it. Services. Yes, sir. I am user, no longer root. Root is just one time. The reason why we discourage you from using your root account, so that you don't go and say that in an interview. That disqualifies you. They don't bother themselves. They just know that you went to a training center to acquire that knowledge. You're talking nonsense. Because you're not supposed to have access to the root account on the job. The root account is for the business owner, the CISO, the C executives, the VP, or the owner of that department or have control of the root account. So you, regardless of whether you are the admin or stuff, you only have access to the user account. That's all. All right. So don't ever mention root account in your interviews. You're not supposed to have access to your root account. It's just one time to set up, and then you transition to user account. But good question. Good question, Dan. Now we're navigating to network and content delivery. VPC. Yesterday, I explained to you what region is, right? So a region is a physical, geographical location where AWS have their services. Inside a region, what is inside a region? I want to see those who are studying on their own. What is inside the region? Huh? What is inside the region? Availability zone. Inside the region contains availability zone. What that means is availability zone, AZ. Availability zone is the data center. The word availability zone is just a cloud word. It's just another buzzword, but it's actually stands for data center. So the geographical location where AWS have their services, it's not a technical thing. It's just saying that AWS is in Ohio. It's just saying that you live in that street. Because you live in the street doesn't mean that you don't have a house in the street, right? So let's say you live in Kedar Street, Atlanta, Georgia. It doesn't mean that you live in Kedar Street. You just live in a house in that street. So AWS is in Ohio, not Carolina, not Virginia. Sorry, my feature not Carolina. Not Virginia, not in California, Oregon. Four locations in the United States, and then there's in London, Frankfurt, is in Paris, is in Tokyo, India, Mumbai, and stuff like that, right? So those are all physical places where you find their data center availability zone. Availability zone is a data center inside a region. So let's do this. Let's do this real quick. Let's do this. I told you we have 3 more hours to go, so guard your bet. I'm gonna switch region. If you're in Ohio, please switch your region to Northern Virginia, because that's okay. If we are building a website, we're in Maryland, or Maryland folks, Virginia folks, where are we gonna host our website? For what reason? Because it's closer to us. Exactly. For example, I want to talk to Dan now. Dan lives downstairs. And what's your name again? Tony. Baba for the guest. Fine boy. Tony live like maybe 1 mile away. I want to communicate the same thing to Tony and Dan. Say, Dan, get me some water. Who will help me better? The guy that's downstairs, right? The guy that's downstairs versus Tony that's 1 mile away from me. Tony may see my mouth move and not hear what's the heck out of my mouth. It's the same thing. That's latency. So we're just bringing close home. So and also not just because we're here. If we are building a website, let me correct that because a lot of people think that, so I don't understand it. If you're building a website, you don't just deploy to the region that is close to you. You are deploying to the region that is close to the most customer. If you want to sell blue youngsters, let's talk to you guys. If you want to sell like e-cigarettes, where are we going to target? Where we find them? College. So guess what? Our data center will be close to the college. Why? We know that older people will buy to try to be like youngsters, they want to do pipe, visualize pipe, But these guys are our really target market. So our focus will be putting the data center close to colleges. Other people will access it, of course, but even if it's slow to them, it doesn't really matter to us as much as this one. If this one is slow, we're losing a huge chunk of our profit because these guys are our profit. Does that make sense? Okay. Cool. Let's go. AWS has a new experience. I don't like the new experience. I turn it off. So to the top, if you want to join me and turn it off, fine. I just don't like the new experience yet. So I turn it off. There's a switch button. New experience at the top. You turn it off or turn it on. It's up to you. I don't like the new experience. I just like to use the whole experience. Then I'm going to navigate to your VPC. This is why this is how I got to that point. Then if you over on it, if you over your mouse, to over just to move your mouse around, don't click, just over on it, like move it on top. When you get there, you will see this box like a pen sign. You know, you click that box, okay? Then you write default uppercase D dash uppercase VPC, and then you click save. Is everyone caught up? Default VPC, then save. When you save it, now you have a VPC you've named called default. But you didn't create the VPC. Liz, are you okay? You good? All right, now on the side, Stilayo, you good? Mr. You good? All right, on the side, you will see 6 subnets. You only see 3? If you see 3, it's because you're in Ohio. That's not true. The pieces of the network. That's right, that's right, that's right. The pieces of the network. So why does this one have 6 subnets and the other region have less? Okay, all right, now, are you in Northern California? Huh? How many subnets do you see there? Okay, switch to Ohio. How many subnets do you see in Ohio? All right, switch to Oregon. How many subnets do you see in Oregon? Huh? The subnets, each of those subnets represent a particular data center. One subnet, one data center. 6 subnets means what? Huh? If one subnet represents one data center, what does 4 subnet represent? What does 2 represent? What does 3 represent? What does 6 represent? Okay, the goal here, what I'm trying to get out of that, is not you echo back to me, is the fact that you understand that the subnets here represent a data center. I like this question.
Ask you because he said it's for
Please, guys,
efficiency.
listen. This is too rowdy. Oh, dear Lord. Not you. Really getting to me.
So I was saying, okay, if California is the nation's capital for all the IT hubs, then why will it have only 2 if it was for efficiency? I was thinking that it's supposed to have more than every other city.
That's a valid question. You want to take it to Zion?
I guess the reason why they have 2 is it's like, the different regions and geographical locations. When you get to some areas, there's what's called zoning, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is allowed in those areas. So probably because of compliance reasons, they can only put 2
in that area.
So it's really, you would have to go to AWS and find out why it's only 2.
Exactly.
But most likely,
yes,
it's compliance reasons.
In order to put what Odessa is saying technically in English, it's just what Odessa says that it's a business reason. It's business justification for AWS. We don't really know why they put 2. Like what he said, no one has ever asked that question. That's really important. California is like the IT hub that we know, Silicon Valley. So why should we have 2? And then Northern Virginia has 6. You understand? It beats logic. But Odessa said like, okay, it's about business reason on AWS piece. So we don't really have a technical answer to why. It's not even a technical thing. It's just like a business reason. Like you said, it could be jurisdiction. What you can do. Maybe you're not allowed to expand over time. It could be maybe they don't have, maybe that one data center is so huge that it can cover like the entire state. So it could be business reason. Yes.
You think pretty much with the government being the largest employer, pretty much, then that's why it has more data center here.
The government does not have money enough for IT compared to the general consumers. Yep. The government only have what they have. You talk about Deloitte that has billions of dollars to spend. How much does government release for IT budget? That's the entire thing. Government does government, government is so slow to adopt technology. So if you even put them as a reason for expansion, then you are about to fail before you begin. They will use one old thing for 20 years. Ancient of days, as old as you are.
Well, when we move into Gov Cloud and you look at Gov Cloud, you notice that Gov Cloud has scanty services compared to the commercial side. Commercial has a lot of services because the government really doesn't need all those things, or they don't use it.
That's a good one, Odusan. Thank you so much. Good point. All right. So go back to my regions. I just want to show you every region has the number of data centers that AWS own in those regions. You see that? That's the subnet represents a data center. A data center is a physical place, just like this building where we're in, right? The computers in those data centers are the chairs. The racks in those data centers that hold the computer are like the tables that hold your laptop. The racks are just exactly this table holding on to your laptop. The racks are not technical. They're just supporting the computer's operation. It's a support to an engineering process. That's what the racks for. So every data center has its own servers, has capability. In fact, what we know so far, all AWS data centers are built the same. There is no one greater data center. Every AWS data center are built the same. For example, AWS has 6 data centers. In US is 1. So the data center are all in alphabetical order, not in numbers. So US, I take that back. Not just only in numbers. So you have US is 1A, US is 1B, US is 1C. What's the number there? That's 3, right? US is 1D, that's 4. US is 1E, that's 5. US is 1F. So what you store in US is 1A. And what you store in US is 1D. You can store the same thing. That's what we'll talk about backup. You can replicate your data and store it US is 1A and also store it in US is 1D. If anything, let's say, for example, why is this important? Why do they have multiple data centers? So the data centers in AWS, they are not in the same area. We talked about it the other day, right, Dan? That if anything happened, you live alone, for example, if anything happens to your apartment, where you go to your parents' house until the apartment unit fix the problem. So it's the same way. Your parents' house may not be close to your apartment unit. Your parent may be in Bowie and then you're in Laurel. So if anything happened to one data center, you fail over to the other one. So most people, when they do what they call BCP, business continuity planning is nothing technical. It's just the concept of, for example, brother here has a website that's running in Virginia. We don't know the next attack. Maybe, God forbid, locusts just start eating all computers in the DC area. Locusts have grown that kind of capability. We didn't know that. And that because nobody knew COVID-19 will come, right? Maybe COVID-19 is now affecting computers, no longer humans. And now COVID-19 is focused on the US East, Northern Virginia region. And all the data centers in AWS has come to a halt. What happens? Brother man will fail over to California. Because what he kept in Virginia is copied and snapshot. They're entering class. That's in English word, that's backup. Backup, for example, now, if you travel, there's no car renter. Maybe Hertz or whatever they call decide to give out your car to the highest bidder. So maybe one of the manager at the airport has a friend, because nowadays cars are very scarce. Your backup plan should be Turo. So if your car doesn't go through the regular commercial rental company, you cannot fall back to renting a car on Turo. Oh, what's true? Oh, yeah, wait for business class. Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's a very good. That's very good. It's can you say it's the user? So that's where the shared responsibility model comes in. AWS responsibility is to provide the environment. What you do with your data is your responsibility. It's just like your apartment complex. To get into the apartment complex, to move in is the apartment unit, sorry, is the apartment's responsibility to make sure that the apartment unit is clean, is well done, painted and all that stuff. The lock on the door, they will hand the key over to you. Who's responsible to lock the door when you leave? Who's responsible to close the door when you're inside? You can decide to open your door. You won't get fined for it. The only thing is that your TV, if Shakabaya, Subnet, just type default, copy it so that to make it fast. Default, everything put default. 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 I'm going to talk to Mr. Yomi to come back and teach subnet again. All right. All right. Now, route table. Output default dash ROT, which means default route table, right? So by default, when you create a VPC, what is a route table? A VPC is an apartment unit. What that means, please settle down, please walk with me so we don't get distracted, please. Because I'm about to get out of this place in a minute. Settle down, it's distracting. A subnet is the bedroom inside your apartment unit. The route table is the walkway that leads you to the subway that leads you to the kitchen, to the bathroom, and everything. The internet gateway is your electricity. When you move into a new apartment, what happens? Does it come with electricity nowadays? It doesn't come with electricity. Turn on. You have to call the company to turn it in your name. So the internet gateway. Who took my? They took my screen. Okay, thank you. The internet gateway is your electricity. Then all of this stuff. Then the elastic IP. Listen now. Elastic IP is your address on your unit number. Some of you are living like unit 450, right? Apartment 450. That apartment 450 is your elastic IP. Elastic IP means that IP that does not change. Dynamic IP means IP that change. You know, for example, some boyfriends are dynamic IP. After they get the cookie jar, they change. But when they're trying to woo you, they were elastic. Elastic cannot change until you get the price. And then you change. Auntie, oh, I like the way you raise your hands like, oh, you about to do a praise break or something. Oh, route table, route. Oh, so sorry. You know what? I can experience you guys experience back. This place is so far. Sorry, I'm gonna expand my sorry about that. That's really terrible. Sorry. Can you see? Sister, can you see? All right, this is better, right? Yeah, this is better. This is to strain your eyes. So this is what it is, right? What is a subnet in your apartment? What is a route table? What is the internet gateway? And what is the route, the elastic IP? The address. Elastic IP is just an IP that does not change. It's static. It doesn't change at all. You will see why it's important in a minute. I said today, after today, if you stay to the end, you get a job. All right, so we just named our route table as default ROT so that it doesn't bother us. Now we're going to our internet gateway. Internet gateway, we're going to name it default ROT, route table. Default that IGW, which is IG stands for internet, then the GW, get and way. Internet gateway, right? Internet gateway, save. Internet gateway. All right, so we already have all our default internet gateway, good stuff. So now that we have our VPC all, we have our VPC, right? All tagged with the right naming convention as default, etc. Now it's time to create a VPC. Understand this, a VPC represents a customer in consulting. A VPC represents a customer. Even if you're not consulting, a VPC can represent an application. A VPC can represent a project. A VPC is project specific. What does that mean? To say a VPC is project specific, what does that mean? A VPC is project specific. What does that mean? Oh, these youngsters are on fire. They say whatever project they're working on has its own VPC. For example, a VPC is project specific means that if you're working on a nursing, let's say a nursing home, it's our IT customer. They want to host their website in the cloud. Because I'm using nurse now as an example, a nursing home, right? Because it's its own company, and we have you are the nursing owner of the nursing home. You are owner of an engineering company. You're owner of a financial advisory firm. Because you guys are three different customers, and I'm the consulting company. You have to have your own VPC. You have your own VPC, and you have your own VPC. So a VPC can be customer specific. Interview key point there. Thank you. A VPC is customer specific. Hold on. While you're doing this, please ensure this is hard work. Trust me, it's hard work. This money is not coming easy. It's hard work. Make sure to differentiate between a talking point and bullet points. Start writing down your bullet points. Bullet points in a way that simplify everything I'm saying, just put it in English word, in summary, what you've done. Talking points, everything I'm saying is like raw, adopt it in that raw form. So you don't go and start explaining technical stuff to them. Your resume can have all the nice technical English word there. But when you are on the interview panel, you want to be organic like this. You want to express the depth of your knowledge in things that they understand, because sometimes they're hiring you not to hear what you have to say because they already know it. You're not trying to teach them. They're hiring you to serve a customer. So can your language satisfy that requirement? Can you bring it to the customer understanding? Yes.
Breaking it down for a customer.
Breaking it down to even though a baby 3 years old can understand you.
Non-technical customer.
Exactly. Yet you're still communicating technically. Yes, you got something.
Is it just like how we said the security group is like a man who has a wife and a sidekick?
Yes. Bad guy. Thank you. Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. Use things that are relatable, things that will make sense. Not just don't use textbook definitions. They're not stupid. They know that. Okay. Yes. Young chap.
Like the exam, don't they require? Isn't it like the textbook definition that might be on there?
Yeah. Why the textbook definition will be on there? For the foundational one, when you get to the solutions architect, it's no longer textbook definition. It's very detailed. It is scenario based. So if you understand it by this concept, you are getting yourself to be, you're playing many roles. You're a customer, you're an engineer, you're a business owner. So from whatever point they throw the question, you have that understanding to deal with to dish out the answer to this question. Okay, let's get to our VPC. Now we're going to create, do you understand the concept of all some of the components? See, let me tell you something, guys. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of stuff here that you don't need for everyday configuration. Do you understand? There exists there just for when you need them. Not because everything is here doesn't mean you have to know everything. There are certain things that you don't need right now. So we're talking about creating what I said, let's come up with 20 Black-owned businesses. So let's start now. What's the first business? If companies you want to work for, so the thing is that we're trying to gather customers, right? We're consultants. We have a consultancy. We're trying to gather customers that we want to work with. So the first company will be what? Remember, VPC is project specific. So what will the first company be? Huh?
Cassidy Inc.
Jane? That's your magazine? Jet magazine. Okay. The next one. Huh? Is that? TIDA, that's a Black business by JC, right? TIDA is also. Huh?
Oh, fuck.
Fancy?
Sorry.
Fenty. Please, can you keep it down so I can teach? Please. Okay. So now we're going to create a VPC. Our first task, we're going to create VPC. All right. And just follow through. The first on the list is so my name tag is on Jet Magazine dash VPC. It's just saying, it's just a name tag indicating that it is Jet Magazine's VPC. All right. And this block here, if you read, it says you must specify an IPv4 address range for your VPC. Specify the IPv4 address range as a classless inter-domain routing, popularly called CIDR, like Apple CIDR block. That's what it is, CIDR. Classless inter-domain routing. An example, CIDR.syz. The noise is on the background, so don't distracting, please. I'm getting tired. Please. If you see slash 16 on this is CIDR.syz. That's the website. If you read it, let me read it for you so you can see. I know those guys at the back, they have really challenging time seeing it. Is it bold enough? Guys at the back. CIDR is a notation. A notation means to point to something, a mark. A notation is to mark something. It's a notation for describing blocks. of IP addresses, and it's used heavily in various networking configurations. IP addresses contain 4 octets, right? I told you that networking has a language. Octets contains 4 octets. Each consists of 8 bits, giving values between 0 to 255. The decimal value that comes after the slash is a number of bits consisting of the routing prefix. This in turn can be translated into a net mask and also designates how many available addresses are in the block. So for example, 10, so there are different types of IP addresses. You have the class A, class B, and class C. We'll get into the deep networking class. You don't need that today. Just do what I'm doing. Just understand that. I'll try to break it down for you so you follow through first, and then understanding this network concept will come next. If you say /16 for any IP address, it will give you this count: 65,536. If I change this /16 to /24, what is the count here? 256. So anything /24 has 256 IP addresses, right? Just see that way. I'm trying to dumb it down. Then anything /16 has 65,536 addresses. Copy this website down, okay? Watch YouTube video on how IP addresses work, like 10-15 minutes videos on YouTube. Don't go and overcomplicate things. Cider.syz. There are lots of websites that will give you the breakdown on these IP addresses and stuff. This is just can I proceed? Huh? All right, this is just to show you. So if you look at this, say you must see all our VPC that we'll create. We'll explain to you later. You understand why we have 10, 172, and 192. You understand that. You understand why we have random numbers. You understand that. Those indicate either private classes of IP or public classes of IP. So we'll try to explain, deep dive into it for you. What Mr. Yomi did is too advanced. For I know about it. That's story. That was too advanced, but it was intentional, you know, because it validates what I teach, do what I do. Most people have problem with it. They say, this, that. You know, I don't know how you're trying to coach someone who's successful doing what he's doing to teach you to be successful. I mean, that's like the ninth wonder of the world. Someone who's doing this stuff is successful at it. You want to tell him how to coach you to be successful. If you know how to be successful, why not successful yourself? It's that simple. You know, anyway, my point is don't let this get you worked up. Just do it as I'm doing it now. You understand it later. You know, it's what I call the oh moment in IT. Oh, that's why I did this. Oh, this is what this means. Oh, so because your mind is constantly working and receiving new information and connecting to the old ones or the existing information that you have. So 10.0.0.0/16, that is our cider block. We're going to create /16 VPC and /24 subnet. So, yes. there's something called an action item list. We talked about it in cloud language, right? Action item list is a checklist. If you don't have it in your cloud language, please write it down. Action item list. It's checklist. It's important. Action item list. We're going to be using a lot of it. Action. Sorry, maybe this food is not making me. Checklist. That's what it's been. Action items. Checklist. And I think Anu's recording. I'm very sure. Yeah, she's recording. Okay, Jet magazine that VPC, the CIDR block is 10.0.0.0/16. Listen to this. This here, this area indicates IPv6 CIDR block, means there's two versions of IP addresses. Version 4, which is V4. IPv4 stands for Internet Protocol version 4, which is IP, Internet Protocol. Then IPv6 IP, which is Internet Protocol version 6. So 6 is replacing 4, just like TLS has now replaced SSL. TLS is touted to be more secured than SSL. SSL probably has been cracked, so TLS is a replacement. Advanced technology advances, technology evolves. Take a walk, take a walk. TLS has replaced SSL, so is IPv6 coming to replace IPv4? Let me give you an example of the IPv6 address. It's not friendly. It's not something that you can even cram. That's what it looks like. IPv6 address, see, that's it. Does this look like something you can memorize? Huh? That's what's coming to replace IPv4. So most companies are already adopting and adapting to it. So AWS designed their technology to also work with companies who use IPv6. So this is an option to say, hey, no, IPv6 means we're not using IPv6. We are going with the default AWS IPv4. Do you understand? Then this, if we say here, we say Amazon provided IPv6 CIDR block, means we want to use AWS IPv6 stuff. We don't want to use IPv4, right? Then IPv6 owned by us. If we're a company and we own an IPv6, we'll provide the IPv6 address, which is like something like this one, right? But that's not the case. We don't have any of 1, 2, so we'll settle with this. So by default, I'm just explaining to you, by default, not met a lot of companies that use IPv6 in the cloud. Mostly it's IPv4 in all the organizations. 99% of them you work with right now is IPv4, right? So it's nothing to worry about. By that time, you would have grown in the career, and then as long as you don't stop reading. Some people, when they get cloud job, they start misbehaving. That's when they want to buy a car, they want to take trips, go on vacation, and they stop developing themselves. And they find that when they lose that job that they have, no one will hire them again. Because repeated tasks does not mean that you are growing. It just means you're mastering a specific task. You just have a specific skill set. So that's what it is. So no IPv6, tenancy, default, or dedicated. Dedicated means your own. But listen, it's all marketing language. Are they going to really put your resource on another person's VPC? No. So dedicated, you get some privacy and stuff, but that's not true. Let's look at what AWS say about it. Sorry, I have to. There's no okay. You can run your instances in your VPC on single tenant dedicated hardware. Select dedicated to ensure that instances launched in individual dedicated tenancy instances, regardless of the tenancy attributes to the launch. Select default to ensure the instances launches uses each attribute specified at launch. You can see the verbiage does not even convincing enough. It's the same thing. They just want to pay more, right? You know, I can say, if you give me $20 more, I'll give you more of what I'm selling. But it's all maybe quantity, but it won't diminish the quantity, the quality, right? That's what that is. No IPv6 either. It's just showing, okay, the tag that's been assigned to us will create VPC. So our VPC has been successfully created. VPC has successfully created. So when we go to your VPC, you will see that now we have a new VPC called Jet Magazine. Yeah, of course. 10. The same thing, 10.0.0.0/16. Oh, how many of you didn't do it? Oh, sorry, okay, my bad. Join me, do it too. Mm-hmm. To do some engineering work. You have been clamoring for it to decide it was wasting your time since now want to work. You are looking at me like, hey, Lord, is this what we signed up for? This is what you signed up for now. What do you think? Now we're going to go to our route table to verify what I told you. See, did you see that a new route table has been created? Did you see that the default route table, the ID of the default route table is smaller than the other one, right? But how did you know this is the route table that is attached to the VPC that you create? There's a way to identify it. You scroll down to the right. This is how you expand this. You hold on to it and expand. On this two VPC ID, you can set this line, this one on the top. This one on the top is this here is showing you, this VPC ID means that Jet Magazine VPC is the owner of this route table. So what we do now is go ahead and say, I think I have it copied, Jet Magazine -ROT-public. Don't worry, we're going to build this in an action item, so next time it'll be easy. So what you're going to do to really master VPC, create like 200 in 1 week. You just be creating and tearing down, creating. No, it's not listen, it's not a laughing issue. I'm showing you how you can get this quick, right? You can get this quick. Now that we have a default route table, this route table we didn't create it. AWS created it for us. For every VPC, you need at least 2 route tables. One route table will act as a private router, and one will act as a public router. Okay. So the next route table we're going to create will be Jet Magazine -ROT-private. And then the VPC we're going to select will be Jet Magazine. And then you create. Then create. It took less than 30 seconds. This is not rocket science. Most people don't pay attention. That's why they get lost. And they think like you're teaching Greek. No, I'm not. It's a robo. I'm teaching. So now None of them has been configured. All has they just only be created. Do you understand? It's like how you build a house, but you have not started painting or you have not plastered the house. The structure has just only been built. You have to do plastering and painting and stuff. That's what we'll start doing next. But what we're focusing on is building. Let's build first and then we'll plaster next. That's what we're doing. Anyone still confused? Go to subnets. Now we can now create subnets. You click on subnets. Create subnets. Please talk to him. Talk to him. See what's going on. To create a subnet, select VPC ID, Jet Magazine. The subnet name is going to be Jet Magazine -public -1A. For my folks in the back, can you see? All right, have you done? Are you done creating your subnet? Huh? What did you do different? So watch me now. I always copy my stuff so I don't have to retype everything again. Okay, try to copy the naming convention if you're creating more than one. For this, I'm going to use 10.0.0/24. Then add new subnet. I'm going to paste subnet number 2, 1B. I copy the same thing and just change the A to B. Then you see. One A, 1B, yeah. Two, like it's 2 public, 2 private. We're trying to create 2 private. Where's Femi? Femi, come on. Someone help these guys. Help these guys at the back. Yeah, I need you to. Read this, read this. Guys, pay attention, please, please. Read this to yourself. If you understand it, just let me know with the node. If you don't, raise hand, I'll explain. Should I move it up? Huh?
Not yet. Oh.
How long does it take to read this stuff now? Come on. I uploaded on Zoom. If someone, Anu, please put it on Telegram. We don't have access to Telegram. If Anu is there, it's not easy. So do you understand now? Huh? If you don't understand, be bold to say you don't understand, so I can explain now. Do you understand what just happened?
Which availability
Okay,
zone are we?
what is it understand? Huh? Oh yeah, you shouldn't understand. You just came. Like those who have been at this stuff since. So what we're doing, we create a VPC. The VPC has several components. That's why I don't want to explain the technical stuff to you. I told you the VPC is an apartment unit. And the apartment unit has stove, has microwave, has refrigerator, has fan, has dishwasher, has oven, you know. But what I say is that most of you are chit-chatting while I'm teaching and explaining this stuff. Let me give you my history. I shut down the entire generation of training because people were not paying attention. And God even blessed me greatly that year. It's not going to affect me. It's taken away from you. I'm trying to explain something. Someone's taking the time to teach you stuff. You know, if you know it shouldn't be here, you should just pay attention and grab it. We keep going back in circles over VPC for 4 hours, VPC, one VPC. And we're supposed to create 20.
It's 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Dr. Chris, can I?
Class, paying attention. That's one of the problems. So we're only creating, I'd say by default, when you create a VPC, AWS creates one route table for you. And just by best practice, we name that route table, right? We name that route table public. We use the name of the business and say -ROT, which stands for route table. It's optional, but just for, so it can be at the same level. -ROT -public -ROT -private. So the private one is the custom route table, the one that we created ourselves. They're making it 1 + 1, 2. So we haven't configured it yet. We just created it. It took about 30 seconds to create. And then we move on to subnet. In your environment, you already have 6 subnets from the default VPC, which we all name default. So we have to create our own subnets. We have to create 2 public, 2 private. So what we did, we created AWS, we created Jet Magazine -public -1A. Then we selected the 1A region. And then we entered the CIDR. Subnets that we used was 10.0.0.0/24. Then the next one was -B, public -B. The subnet that we used was 10.0.1.0/24. The next one, private 1A. Now, see, it's 2A subnet and 2B subnet. 1 public, 1 private. The next one was 10.0/3.0/24. That makes it 4 subnets. Before now, you have to create it single sub. You can't create all at one time. AWS has changed it over time. I think just like a few months ago, they just made a change. Now you can create all at one time. That's what we're doing. From there, we'll go, supposed to proceed to Internet Gateway. Internet Gateway is Jet Magazine -IGW. Internet, the G is the gate, the W is the way. That's it. It's just naming convention. Take it off. You create it by default. When you create an internet gateway, it's detached. I told you the internet gateway is the electricity that comes into your apartment. So you now have to attach that internet gateway to your VPC in order to bring electricity into the apartment units. Because the internet gateway is what connects with what brings internet connection to your VPC. Without it, nothing you deploy into that VPC will work. Do you understand now? See, all of them has been created. I'm going to clear my filter out. Okay. Is that difficult? Huh? Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is our internet gateway. Internet gateway. All of those on the back. Just click on create internet gateway. So it's going to be Jet Magazine dash IGW. That's all. And you click on create. Does that make sense?
Come again.
Actions, attach your VPC. I'll go back again. Select the Jet Magazine IGW. Did you see that it says detached under state? Huh? So by default is detached. Notice by default is detached. So it's like a cable, it's like an electricity company. You have an electric wire connection, but until you pay, it's not put together. No, they don't cut it on in your apartment unit until you pay them and sign a contract. That's what this is. Okay. So now we're going to sign a contract by attaching it to the VPC. You can only attach one internet gateway per VPC. So that's the only VPC that showed up. Drop down. So select the VPC, Jet Magazine VPC, attach internet gateway. Now, do you see that internet gateway say attached? Huh? Under state? It's not attached.
So how did you do that? Can you repeat again?
Let's go back to route table. Highlight your public route. Actions and edit route. Highlight the public one. I'm having sore throat. Oh my God. Edit route. Add route. It's going to be 0.0 slash 0. 0.0.0.0 slash 0. 4 zeros slash 0. Then the target is going to be internet gateway. And we're selecting our Jet Magazine internet gateway. And then bam, save route. Route successfully edited. Okay, so see I like it. Huh? Actions. Edit route. You there? I'll delete it.
Which of the
public?
Okay.
The public route table. Add route. The destination is 0.0.0/0 means anything allowed. That means there is no restriction. It's like address that is like a business place that anybody's allowed to come in, day or night. Where would that be? Hospital, right? 0.0.0/0. Then you select the target drop down, scroll down the list, you'll see internet gateway. Click on the internet gateway and you'll find the pop-up for Jet Magazine. You select it. Save route. Route successfully edited. Do it again.
The internet gateway. Will you do it?
All right, guys. We'll go to route table. This is the route table, right? Can you see my screen? Huh? Highlight it, select it, select. Click on the box. Select public. Actions. Edit route. Or you can right click on it and edit route. You can even go down and click route and edit route. There are 3 ways you can get to the route. Editing route, the route inside this route table. Actions, edit route. And then add route, 0.0. No, there's not. No. Oh, okay. Yeah, 0.0.0.0. 0.0.0 slash, then sorry, slash 0, then select internet gateway. Save route. Close. That means we have now configured this route table to be a public route table. Why is it public? Because we route our internet gateway connection to the VPC. And the internet gateway connection is routing traffic through this route table into the subnet. The subnet is part of the VPC. So it's trickling down into the subnet. Go to your route table again. Select the public one. Public one.
Public. Yeah.
Just only public one. Wait. Subnet association. Actions. Subnet association. Edit subnet association. Read.
Yeah.
Then scroll down. Select all public. Jet Magazine, public 1A and B. Then save association. Okay.
Do I do the same for private also?
Yeah, go with private. Subnet association. Select all private. Save. That's it for now.